Esola, and I'm coming to you from Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania, to examine today's generation of students who are digital natives and accustomed to growing up with cell phones, computers, and the internet. This new generation is much different than other generations and requires different skills and therefore different teaching strategies to survive and excel in today's society. These students are known as the millennial generation. So what is a millennial? The millennial generation are students who were born between 1982 to present day, and they're currently ages 27 years and younger. The millennials are students filling our classrooms today, and they're different than students who attended school many years ago. The students are unique and require a set of diverse instructional strategies within the classroom, differing from the traditional practices and educational settings of the past. We're going to take a look now at the 7 distinguishing characteristics or traits of the millennial generation. The first of the 7 distinguishing traits for the millennial generation is that millennials feel that they are special, and this is attributed to a sense the students have that they are actually vital to the nation, and they also have a strong relationship with their parents. They've kind of grown up with the notion that they are all winners. The second distinguishing trait is that they're sheltered. There's been a boom in child safety, and children are growing up with almost a lack of independence or individuality and an expectation for rules and regulations. Thirdly, this lack of individuality or independence also influences the third trait, which is that millennials are often team-oriented. They're not as confident working alone, and they prefer a group over or a collaborative setting over working by themselves. Millennials are also highly optimistic or confident, and they have big dreams and expectations. Fifth is that millennials are also achieving, and they're on track to actually become the most well-educated adults in history. The sixth trait of the generation is that this achievement level that they have bring about a large sense of pressure. So they really feel a lot of pressure to study hard and to avoid risks. And then finally, the millennials are very conventional. They are comfortable with the values, and they actually really support convention. So all of these traits combine to form both strengths and weaknesses that you can find inside of the traditional school setting. Some strengths for millennials include the fact that they are able to work so well in a collaborative setting. This gives teachers ample opportunities to create active learning experiences rather than lecturing. They're also very technology savvy, having grown up in a world of computers, video games, and cell phones. They're very familiar with Web 2.0 tools, and this offers an easy way to assign projects using these Web 2.0 tools and things such as PowerPoints, videos, blogs, and wikis. Another great trait is that they do support convention, so they'll readily listen to guidelines. And some gaps that the millennials may bring to the classroom are that they often feel poorly when they don't get an A or a B and they want instant feedback within the classroom. They also feel entitled and are easily bored with normal instructional techniques. They do require a variety of methods to become engaged in the learning process. There are actually several different teaching strategies that can help with engaging the millennials during classroom instruction. According to an article by Michelle Monaco and Melissa Martin, there are several strategies for better teaching the millennial generation. They suggest practicing more as a facilitator because millennials require assistance in developing independent thinking and decision-making skills. They also suggest setting up guidelines and providing feedback. A structured syllabus, an evaluation rubric with examples and clear guidelines is one such example. Millennials also crave structure, therefore posting office hours or having a structured class may help. Feedback should be timely and suggestions for improvement should also be made frequently for millennials. The suggestions should be offered in a positive manner and in a positive, constructive voice to help build confidence. most importantly, team-oriented teaching strategies and collaboration should be implemented within the classroom. Be sure to offer facilitated group discussions and use technology to offer activities outside of the classroom by posting questions to something such as a blog or a class webpage. Students should have many opportunities to collaborate with one another outside of the classroom, and they should also have a lot of opportunities for different learning assessments, such as written assessments, posters, oral assessments, to allow students different ways to engage and display their knowledge. In a secondary article called Reaching I Board, Bulicki and Herman suggest that teachers should attempt to form a link between knowledge and emotion using projects that really appeal to the millennial generation. In the study, the students are asked to discover the theme of a novel and link different aspects of the story to songs found on their iPods. In this study, it was found that more of the students scored at mastery level after this exercise because they were engaged and really interested in both the technology and the tools that were used for this project. Up next, I'm going to speak to my field supervisor about what she has to say about the millennial generation and some of her thoughts on incorporating different teaching strategies into the classroom with the millennial generation. Hi, Emily. Thanks so much for being here with me today to talk a little bit about the millennial generation. Emily Atkins is a teacher at PA Cyber as well, and she actually teaches second grade. So, Emily, I was wondering, you teach students who are digital natives at such a young age. They've, grown up around all of this technology. So, what are some of the strengths that you notice with your group of students from the millennial generation? And do you notice any weaknesses within your classroom?
Well, Lauren, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to discuss this with you. Teaching second grade, obviously, they definitely have strengths, and there are definitely some weaknesses. Some of their main strengths that I see, even in the young digital natives, is their ability to work well with others effectively in many settings. So if I provide them with clear expectations, and I often do that right before we start any group work, so they're working well with others, they're doing a lot of work with maybe 2 students in a room. I don't really go higher than 3 students with my second graders in a breakout room setting. But again, I provide them with these clear expectations, and they really seem to thrive in the breakout room setting. When we come out of the breakout room setting, I always am so excited about it and tell them, like, you just did a wonderful job in there. And I shouldn't be surprised, but they surprise me every day with their ability to work with each other in the breakout settings. Another strength that I see in the virtual classroom is their interest in Web 2.0 tools. So often when I do a breakout room, I'll encourage them to do or work well with their partner, and then I kind of give them an incentive that I develop a website room for them. So after they come out of the breakout room and they finish and they've worked well with their partner, they go into a website room where then you have an enrichment activity like a website that goes along with the breakout room that we just did, so it extends their knowledge of the concept that we just went over. So that would be my 2 main strengths. And then the weakness that I see, I don't necessarily see it as a negative, but digital natives, as we both know, are constantly connected to their technology. So I often encourage them after class is finished to shut down their computers, and I say the saying, get out and be active, so that they are away from the technology for at least an hour or 2 every day and enjoying the nature.
Thanks, Emily. That's a great point, and definitely one that I hadn't thought of before. Thanks, Emily. I recently researched one report which did a study on the effects of student learning with the use of music and iPod with connection to theme and English literature. I thought it was a great example of a way to incorporate technology and have the students really apply knowledge and work collaboratively rather than just acquire knowledge. It gave them, it was a new interesting idea for working with the millennial generation. So I was just wondering, in your own classroom, what are some maybe instructional strategies or projects that you incorporate specifically to teach the millennial generation?
Well, That's a great question. I'm always looking for new ways to do this. So that article you found, I'd love to get that one to read that. That's a great way. So applying knowledge is absolutely something I strive for when I develop my lessons for each day. So I do it in I think many different ways. But the most effective way I see to apply knowledge is, again, through breakout settings, because it's an opportunity for students to show their skills. And I can hop in and out of so many different rooms and see so many students being engaged through the entire time. They're not just sitting waiting for another student to answer, or they're not just listening to me ramble on. So I also give my millennial students choices when developing projects. They really enjoy that because some students, like to do different things. So I want to encourage them to do what they're interested in, even in second grade with their technology. So, for example, we do a recipe writing assignment each year. And so they have to develop the recipe, and they work with mom or dad, their homework helper, on that. And at the conclusion of the recipe writing assignment, I give them an opportunity where they can draw a picture of the recipe, what the final product would look like. They can take a picture of it, a digital picture, or they can make a Food Network. They're a chef, and they can record themselves in the kitchen. And a lot of students, I was surprised last year, a lot of students, were excited about that and did that, and then we share it with their classmates. So giving them choices, I think, with the projects is the main way that they can then apply the knowledge of the writing process and have some fun with it. So that's about it. And then I like to do a little research.
Yeah, no, those are great examples, and actually ones that were mentioned within this learning session, especially with the giving choices. I thought those were great examples. I think that it's clear that through our conversation that these students are really unique, and that teachers have to try hard and constantly revise and update their lesson plans and their teaching strategies, as more research and things come out regarding the millennial generation and what works best for them. How do you think that schools and teachers can evolve and keep up with the learning needs of this group of students and, the technology that they're so up with? How do you think that schools in general and teachers can try to keep up with these increasing trends?
Good question again. My main advice for this one would be directed at teachers, because obviously we're both teachers, and I think that's where it can build from and then help the school overall. So for teachers, stay relevant. I know that's difficult because technology is always changing, but if you keep that in the back of your head and you're always thinking, all right, what's new and what's working for these kids, what are they engaged in, and then get excited about it as a teacher and get yourself knowledgeable and do some research and learn a little bit about it and see if it's something that would be beneficial to your classroom. So stay relevant is my first point there. Don't be afraid to change, but at that same time be cautious of change because, again, you have to do the research. You have to put the time in to see if that's, again, going to be something that's beneficial and effective for your kids. Above all, never get too comfortable. And by this, I mean, we need to challenge ourselves as teachers. And in turn, if we're challenging ourselves, we'll challenge our millennial students with the new technology and the different ways to use it in their classroom. And hopefully they'll achieve new, wonderful things each day.
Yeah, I love those points, and you actually brought up one of my future learning goals that I took away from this session, or one of the things that I hope to do, and that's really to continue learning to keep up with what's best for our students. So I really appreciate you letting me interview you today and all of your feedback. So thanks so much.
Yes. Thank you.
For my research and discussions with Emily, I've developed 3 teaching goals I now have for myself. First, I plan to implement the suggestions of Monaco and Martin by providing my students with clearly defined rules, expectations, instructions, and examples of success. I also hope to incorporate a pre-planned workload, flexible deadlines, and an opportunity to have options and make choices for assessments. Secondly, I plan to increase my focus on collaboration and technology within the classroom. I hope to design more projects where students can work together, such as the iPod and Theme English lesson presented by Balik and Herman. Finally, or third, I hope to continue with professional development activities and continue studying and learning the best teaching practices for the millennials and as new information and research becomes available. Hopefully, through implementing these goals, my students will have the best chance at a successful future in the 21st century. Thanks for listening. Until next time, I'm Lauren Esola, signing off.